Hey guys, welcome in. Eric here, product specialist with TOA Electronics, and we got another one for you. That's right, another podcast from Sound Supply, talking about a brand new article this week to keep you guys informed and up to date on the latest and greatest news in commercial AV. Right, Andy?
Absolutely. Here we are, back at it again, brother.
Andy is back. All right, guys, so we're going to be talking about an article, as things are starting to kick in a little bit, the weather's warming up. The world event is still in action, but we learned a lot from working remotely and at home, and we learned about the needs of our clientele and the people in this industry and what people want and what they use on a daily basis. So the article we pulled up is from Sound and Communications Magazine, very common magazine in our industry. And this one's from January. And the article title is "The Pandemic Has Spurred a Drive for Connection," quote unquote, connection. AV over IP infrastructure investments are paying off. So this gets into detail about how businesses have converted, or how they converted early on during the world event, and how they switched over from older school or traditional analog style communication systems or an infrastructure, media type transmission, whatever they're doing. With us, it comes to audio, could be video, could be networking, internet, whatever. How they went over to either full IP, or they're going towards a network type solution where the goal is to be able to access and display that information from anywhere in the world. And that's the key here. And we'll get into a little conversation here in just a sec with Andy. Guys, real quick, podcast every single week. Remember, we're releasing these on Mondays. Thank you for tuning in. We always appreciate it. All right, guys, let's rock this. So the first part of the article brings in corporate office spaces, and Andy and I can relate
absolutely
to this because we work in it, or we did work in an office, and we're in the process of a move right now. But being a technology company in audio, we definitely want to move forward and work together on collaborations and using technologies to kind of merge anybody in our workforce all over the country. Andy, let's talk about something we're using daily to communicate between myself, yourself, Teams, Microsoft Teams, that is. It's an application that we use here that has truly brought us like a click away from being in contact with somebody, either visually, verbally.
Virtual office, as I call it. We're in the virtual office.
And before this, we didn't use it. We didn't use anything.
Not as much.
Except email. Just talk about how we started using that technology, once we started working from home.
Well, I mean, the need for conferencing, the need for still having meetings, getting together, putting information together, gathering info. Not only that, but also the need to still demo. We still got to demo equipment. Yeah. We still got to be able to show people how things work,
So good point. I mean, you can use, not only can we use it for just quick conferences, but in terms of presentations and ways to present to our customers, it's been a fantastic tool on doing that. So keep going.
Well, I'll tell you what, even if you look at it, the VoIP system, if we didn't have VoIP, we couldn't bring our phones home and use our same number, not have to tie up another line or order another line. Back in the day, hey, listen, I got to get another phone number added to my bill because I need a third line or a fourth line. So the convenience that VoIP has brought to all of this has really been outstanding. We really saw how to put it all together and utilize it in this situation. It kind of, we were dancing around it before, where now we just jumped right into the pool and said, hey, this is how this has to work. And this is the only means to communicate clearly.
Yep. And then when we think about anything in terms of digital information or the way we present, communicate, transmission of audio, video, documents, media, whatever it is, there is a huge need to stay connected and have access to any of that information from anywhere in the world. And, cloud storage, I think, was overlooked before this, and now it's been a huge success. Zoom, Teams, what's another one I'm thinking of? GoToMeeting, I believe. Skype. Yeah, all these guys took off. People, it was like a gold rush. People immediately had to go out and be like, oh, we need something to talk. And then, they hopped on Zoom.
You know what it was a necessity. It was a necessity. Yeah. There was no way around it. We couldn't be around each other, but we still got to get work done. So, I mean, what do you do? When there's a will, there's a way, so, and the will was a need to communicate, and the way was VoIP. So it was, I tell you this, we really saw how well and kind of flawlessly it all binded together, because we were able to do video, we were able to get good audio across. Editing.
Good. What were we saying?
Just so many things that came together that this really exploited. It's VoIP really made a lot of things happen that we didn't realize before how urgent it was, and I'll tell you one thing. I mean, this is just to, I'm gonna go back in time a little bit here to 2001. I was actually in the city when the buildings went down. At the time, I'm gonna go back a little bit here. At the time, when all that commotion was happening, there was no way to get across and communicate unless you had a Nextel. Nextel at the time was using VoIP. It had that phone number for the walkie-talkie wasn't a regular 201 or 973 or 212. It was an IP address.
Yep.
So, and that was the only means of communication. The reason I bring this up is because in a time like this, where so many people, the urgency to communicate, so many people were working from home. We all had, we're not the only company. There's a million companies out there that have to have meetings, have to talk to customers, real estate, client, brokerage, technology. And VoIP made it happen, where I think if this was on an analog system, lines would have got, we wouldn't have been able to do this.
No, the speed, that's another thing is how fast you can get that information or that communication chain. When you're talking about, emergencies and security, systems that are networked, over IP, versus a local system. I mean, just, it's insane how fast that data can be transmitted to the proper parties or whatever you need to do about it. So the idea of having an integrated system over IP, and today, we're working as a company, as TOA, we're working towards solutions that enable all of our gear eventually, and that's the goal, is to get everything on a network or be able to get it networked and to give you guys access to whatever data you need to ensure that system is up and running, that it's functioning properly. If there's maintenance that needs to get involved, we want to make sure you have access. And that's just a little segue into what we're doing with our new A800D series units, which could be integrated on a network and be able to be accessed at any point of time from a remote location, which is very, very cool. And it integrates very well into security systems and other systems that are installed. So and IP is just it's a general protocol. It's a way to have multiple devices communicate. A lot of companies are going the route of open source, where there's not proprietary solutions. We want to be able to talk to other manufacturers' equipment as well, obviously.
Of course.
And that's also a key aspect. So the article, and you and I talked about higher education and college, and you asked me, I was in school about 12 years ago, how I was able to, or what the internet was used for, and were there live broadcasts? No, there was none of that even 10, 12 years ago. From my recollection, we just mainly used email to communicate. And that's what we were doing before.
Yeah,
COVID happened.
I'll tell you what, it was email or logging into a certain website and or telephone through telephone conference. Yeah, it was not this.
There'll be data dumps and things like that where you can access certain files. But it's completely changed very, very quickly, and clearly there was a huge need for all of this technology. So the article also mentions the word connective fabric. And like I said, I think that and the hybrid model is also, and this is something that I talked about in the past, is workforces, whether it be higher education, whether it be corporate offices, schools, we want to be as safe as possible, but we don't want to break that human connection.
Yes.
So the hybrid or the flex work day or school day or corporate day, whatever you want to call it, is definitely going to be happening,
Yeah.
And it is happening in a lot of different environments. So we want to be able to have a connection at home as well as a connection in the office or a connection wherever you're at. And with the advent of applications now coming into play, it's going to be very easy for people to connect and get the information they need, very quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And smoothly at that. Yeah, absolutely. It's something, like I said, that this whole situation kind of really brought the use out of all of this out of the IP world.
Exactly.
So it's we were dancing around it before, but at this point we fully jumped into this, and it's worked out flawlessly. It's worked out great.
Yeah. And we've learned from it. We have realized that we're able to do just as much as we were when we're at the office. And don't get me wrong here, there are needs for, like I said, there's a need for human to human interaction. Yeah. That's always going to be there. It's just the nature of us. And but it's been fascinating to see this whole world kind of shift and so quickly. So very quickly.
Still be able to accomplish things. That's the cool thing about it. Still be able to get things done.
It is very cool.
It's been something else. I'd say. Good thing that we're in technology.
All right, Andy. Well, always glad to have you here, man. Much appreciated.
Likewise, man. Always a pleasure to be here with you, man.
We're gonna link the article for you guys to check out. Again, Sound and Communications Magazine, a very common magazine here in the industry. It's full of information, full of great stuff. This is a good article. It's very short, but it was it pretty much summed up 2020 and where our industry is going in commercial AV. And we hope that your clientele, that your customers out there are going to bend and evolve with the current technology, because that is the future, and connectivity is the future. Fast accessibility is the future. Remote maintenance is the future. All while not sacrificing anything over traditional audio or video methods of transport. It's just it's a better, simpler, more connective way. It's a faster way to get.
What to add to that? I think that this also, like you're saying, I think what this really did was exploit how nice this is. It really showed how smoothly everything can kind of mend together without having to be there, So,
exactly.
Yeah. All right, E.
All right, man.
Have a good one, brother.
Much appreciated, guys. Thank you for tuning in as always. Every Monday, Sound Supply Podcast. We love being here. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week. We'll see you next time. Take care.